Hey friends, I'm Kara with Kara Jonas Photography, and we are going to do a quick senior picture timeline for you today. Give you a little bit of information so that you feel prepared and ready to start with this important senior milestone. Our studio is based in Southwest Ohio, so the timing for this is really going to be for studios in and around the Midwest. If you're living in another part of the country, the information probably will still make sense, but the timings may be a little bit off. And before we jump in and get started, I want to define a couple of terms just so we're all on the same page as we go through this timeline. The first one is book. Booking is essentially reserving a future date for your session. And in order to do that, most photographers are going to require a session fee or a sitting fee, a session retainer. All of those things essentially mean the same thing. You're just putting a little skin in the game so that that photographer is reserving a specific date for your session. The next term is going to be your shoot. I think that one's a little bit more self-explanatory, but that's the day when you're actually going to come in, meet your photographer, do your senior portrait session. And last but not least is your reveal or order appointment. Now there's a couple of different ways that you can do this with your photographer, but essentially that's where you're seeing your prints, your portraits, and you're making your selections. All right, so I want to walk you through this timeline, and I'm actually going to do it backwards. I'm going to start at the end and kind of come back, because I think that's the easiest way to kind of understand why we're defining the dates as we're defining them. And kind of the point where we're going to start is our yearbook deadline. Now, most schools are going to allow our seniors to show a little bit of personality, have their own specific senior portrait that they're going to select for their yearbook. And again, those dates can vary a little bit. Most of the schools around this area are going to be in the December-January timeframe when you've got that yearbook deadline. For the purposes of this video, we're going to pick a date just so we can kind of use that and move backwards. So for now, we're going to say December 1st is our yearbook deadline. So that's where we're going to start. And we're going to back up from that. What's going to happen before that is you need to be making your selections and completing your order so that that photographer has time to do whatever editing, proofing, ordering products, getting that image ready for the yearbook. My recommendation is to allow about 4 weeks for that process. Now that might be, your photographer may not need quite that long, but I'm always going to err on the side of let's not make it a painful process. Let's make sure that we're leaving enough time. So if we're saying December 1st is our yearbook deadline, we want to make sure that we're doing that order and reveal appointment sometime in early November. The next step before that then is going to be our shoot. And there's a little bit of a range with this as well. I would say drop dead. What you want for your shoot is no later than mid-October. So if you're someone who loves sweaters, loves the fall colors, wants to do your session in the fall, just make sure that you're targeting that mid-October date. What I will tell you though is that the most common time for senior portraits to be done is the summer between your junior and senior year. So that June, July, early August is by far the most common time when you're going to be seeing people doing senior portraits. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Obviously, we're looking at the timeline and this fits in that timeline, but schedules typically throughout the summer are a little bit more flexible. You're not having to deal with school and activities. There's definitely going to be vacations and sports camps and things like that, but usually it's easier to work around those things in the summertime. Secondly is most of the time people want that outdoor look. They want the summer look. They want some sun. They want to be able to wear cute outfits and clothes that typically are a little more summery and fresh. So we're typically looking at, we book most of our sessions June, July, and the early part of August. So in order to hit those shoot dates in the summer and early fall, we're going to want to book in the spring of our junior year. So we're talking about March, April timeframe at least, if not earlier. Now, the most in-demand photographers are probably going to book a little sooner. So just make sure you're doing that homework, you're getting out there, you're understanding what that timeline looks like for the photographer that you want to book with. But I would definitely say March, April is when we want to be booking our sessions so that we can reserve the date with the photographer that you most want. In order to kind of meet that target booking date, I would encourage everyone, reach out, connect with a couple of different photographers, get to know their style, get to know their personality, make sure that they're the right fit for you. And I would encourage you to do that in the winter of junior year. So we're looking at January, February, maybe even a little bit earlier than that. Again, depending on which photographers that you're considering. So you're going to want to connect with them, talk to them, find out more about the sessions that they offer, making sure that you can then get on their calendar and book in that March, April timeframe. All right, we did it backwards. Let's do it in chronological order. We're going to start in the winter of junior year, looking at researching, connecting with potential photographers, making that decision so that we can book in the spring of junior year. And we're going to look to shoot anytime between June and mid-October with a target date for our reveal and order appointment in early November to meet that December yearbook deadline. So I hope that kind of helps simplify and give you an idea of what to look for and how to kind of navigate that senior portrait timeline. Again, my name is Kara Jonas Photography. If there's anything I can do for you, please reach out. I'm there to be a resource for all of you navigating this process, making sure that you have an amazing senior portrait experience.